Hi everyone. Today I want to show you how you can use index match in Microsoft Excel. So, what is index match and why would you use it? You can use index match to look things up. Let's say, for example, we have revenue data in Excel and we want to answer the question, how much revenue did we earn for chocolate chip biscuits in the United Kingdom? I can use index match to answer that question. Let's check this out. Here I am in Microsoft Excel, and index match should work in just about any version of Microsoft Excel. Index and match are two separate functions, the index function and the match function, and when we bring them together, we can pull off some pretty powerful lookups in Excel. We're going to start with the index function. Here you'll see a two-dimensional table. Here I have rows, and I also have columns. And here within the table, I have a value x. Now I want to use the index function to tell me what's in this specific cell. And it's x. So let's go down just a little bit and click on cell C12. So let's click into a cell and we'll start entering the formula. And let's go up to the function helper by clicking on the insert function. This opens up a prompt where I can insert a function. And let's start with index. Here I'll type in index, click on go, and let's select this option right here, and click OK. This opens up another prompt, and let's go with the first one here that says array, row num, column num, and then click on OK. This opens up a prompt where we can specify the arguments that we want to pass into this function. And first, it asks us for the array. So what is the array? The array is all the different possible areas where the value could be. So I'll select all of these cells from B4 to G9. These are all the possible cells that could contain the value x. And right here in the function argument, it asks me to specify a row number and a column number. Now once again, I want to know what's in this specific cell. So this is row number 3, so I'll type in a 3, and then it's column number 4 right here. So for the column, I'll type in a 4. And look at that, when I click on OK, it gives me a value back. So it tells me that there is a value in this specific cell. And that's all the index function does. You give it an array, then you specify a row and a column that you want back. And we got a value. Now let's take a look at how match works. Down below, click into the next worksheet called match. Next up, we have the match function, and this is the second part of index match. With the match function, you can find out what row or column something is in. So, here for example, I have a table with all the different biscuit types that we have. And let's say I want to know which row the Oreo biscuit is in. Now here, you can see that I have 10 rows in this table, and Oreo is in the 7th row. Now that's easy to see, but maybe you have a lot more data, and that's where match can help you. So right up here in cell B3, let's type in the match formula, and once again, let's click on the insert function icon. This opens up the insert function prompt. Let's type in match and then click on go. Next, double-click on the match function. This opens up a prompt where I can specify the arguments for this function. And first, it wants to know, what is the lookup value? Now once again, I want to find out what row is the Oreo in. So the lookup value is Oreo, and I'll simply select this cell A4. Now I could also simply type Oreo into the function argument, but I'll reference the cell instead. Next is to specify the lookup array. So I want to find Oreo in this set of biscuit types. I want to find out what row is it. So I'll select all the biscuit types as the array. Next is to select a match type. If I want it to be exact or not exact, but I'm just going to leave it set to the default of exact. Now right over here, I can already see the outcome of this function, and it tells me it's number 7, so it's in row number 7. I'll click on OK, and here too I see that it's in row 7. Now, because I simply referenced this cell, I could also type in wafer, and when I hit enter, here tells me that wafers are on row number 10. So that's how the match function works. Like index, it's also a pretty simple function. Next, we're going to combine the index and the match function, and we're going to be able to pull off some pretty powerful lookups. Down below, let's click into the Index and Match Simple worksheet. On this next sheet, we're going to bring together Index and Match, and we're going to pull off our first lookup. On this sheet, I have all of our different biscuit types and the associated revenue. Now I want to write a formula that'll tell me about the revenue for a specific type of biscuit, and Index Match will help us here. First, I want to find the position of Oreo in this table, and just like we did in the previous example, we can use Match to do this, and it'll be very similar to what we just did. I'll click into the C2 cell, and let's click on the Insert function. Let's type in Match and then click on Go. Next, double-click on the Match function. This opens up the function arguments prompt. And once again, I want to find out what row is the Oreo on. For the lookup value, I'll select Oreo, and for the lookup array, I'll select all of my different biscuit types. And here it shows me that it's in row number 7. I'll click on OK, and here it shows me a 7. Now that we know that Oreo is on row number 7, I want to know the revenue for row number 7, and this is where we can use the index function. Here I'll click on cell C3, then click on the Insert function icon, and here let's select Index, and then click on OK. Once again, click on the first option and click on OK again. This opens up the function helper, and for Index, this is the array. So I want to know a specific revenue amount in this selection. Next, it asked me for a row number, and we found that Oreo is on row 7. So here I can type in a 7, and then click on OK, and here we see that the revenue for Oreo biscuit is £5,241. Now of course, when I entered in the index formula up here, I hard-coded in row number 7, but I want to use match within the index formula. So here in cell C2, I'm going to click up where I entered the match formula to find out the row that Oreo is on. And here from the formula bar, I'll copy the formula. Next, I'll click down into my index formula, and instead of hard coding in the 7, let me paste in my match formula. So this will give me the row that Oreo is on within the index formula. I'll hit enter and I still get the same result. But now the good thing is, here maybe instead of looking at Oreo biscuit revenue, let me change it to wafer and press enter. And look at that, it automatically updates to show me the wafer biscuits. If I go back above and click into cell C3, the index match formula, and if we look at the formula here in the formula bar, here it's saying C6 through C15. This is where we will pick the data from, and then match is telling me what specific row we want to look at, and here wafer biscuits are in row 10. So here it returns this value back. Hopefully you're starting to understand how index match works, and you can pull off some pretty fancy lookups. Next, let's click on Index and Match Advanced Sheet. In the intro, I mentioned that I want to find out how much revenue we pull in for chocolate chip biscuits in the United Kingdom. And here I have a table with all of our different biscuit types and all of our markets. Note that all the markets are alphabetically arranged. And right here, I can see chocolate chip biscuits in the United Kingdom drive in over £7,300. But how can we use the index match to get this same result? Well, let's start by entering the match formulas, and then we'll figure out the revenue using the index. First, let's find out what row chocolate chip is on. Here, I'll click in cell E3 and then click on the function helper. And once again, let's use match. Here, I'll click on match and then click on OK. For the lookup value, I'll select chocolate chip from cell D3. And for the lookup array, I'll select all of the different biscuit types from cell B8 to B17. Then I'll click on OK. So here we see that chocolate chip is on row number 1. Next, let's figure out what column the United Kingdom is in by using the match function. Here I'll click in cell E4 and then on Insert function, and once again let's select match. This opens up the function prompt. Here for the lookup value, let's select UK from cell D4. For the lookup array, I'll select all the different markets we operate in, which are from cell C7 to G7. Then I'll click on OK. So here I can see that the UK is in column number 4. Now that we know both the row number and the column number, we can now insert the index function. Right up here under revenue, in cell E5, let's type in equals index, open the parentheses, and we need to specify the array. Here I'll select this entire area right here from C8 to G17. I'll insert a comma, and now I need to specify the row number. And the row number for chocolate chip is 1, so for now I'll hard code it to 1. I'll insert another comma, and then I need to specify the column number, and this is in column 4. So I'll press a 4 and then close the parentheses. So here, I see that in the UK, we made over £7,300 on chocolate chip biscuits. Now, just like before, I don't want to hard code values in the index function. Instead, I want to use the match to tell me what these values are. So here I'll click into chocolate chip, and here I'll copy this formula. This will tell me what the row is. Here I'll click into index, and instead of entering in 1, I'll paste in the match formula, and here it continues to work just like it did before. Next, let's click into the UK, and here I'll copy the match formula here. I'll click back into the revenue formula, and instead of hard coding the 4, here I'll paste in the match formula for the column, and when I hit enter, this works just like we expected to. Now if I click into here and we look at the formula, it looks pretty complex, but when you break it down and you start with the matches, and you work your way out to the index, it's actually very easy to use index match. The nice thing here now is, let's say I want to change any of these different values. So instead of chocolate chip, let's say I want to look for ginger biscuits. There, you'll see that in the UK it automatically updates the revenue for that. Drop down lists with index match. Now, if I really want, I could even insert drop down lists here in cell D3. So instead of just typing in a value, let me go up to data, up on the top tabs, and I'll go to the option that says data validation in data tools. Right here, I'll select list instead of any value. And for my source, let me select all of the different biscuit types, and then I'll click on OK. Now I could do the same for the market as well. Here I'll click on data validation. I'll set it to list, and for the source, I'll select all of the different markets that we're in, and then I'll click on OK. So, now I can use a drop-down list to choose any of my biscuit types. So, let's look at digestive biscuits in China, and here it is a little over £8,800. And to verify that, here we have China and digestive, and it's a little over £8,800. With index match and drop-down lists, you can start building some very nice interactive dashboards. Let's look into one last example. Let's click into the worksheet called Index and Match Advanced 2. On this sheet, you'll notice that the table is structured a little bit differently. Here, I have the biscuit type in one column, the market in another column, and then the revenue. I want to find out how much revenue did we earn on chocolate chip biscuit in the United Kingdom. So how do we figure this out? Well, just like we've been doing all along, let's start with the match function. Click into cell G5. And once again, let's go up to Insert Function, and here let's select Match. For the lookup value, I want to look up chocolate chip from cell F4, and I'll insert an ampersand, and then I'll also select the United Kingdom from cell F5. So I want to look up both of these different values. For the lookup array here, I'll select this entire column from B5 to B34. And just like we did with the lookup value, I'll insert an ampersand, and then I'll select this entire column from C5 to C34, all of the markets. Then I'll click on OK, and it gives me a fallback, so it finds the chocolate chip biscuit and the United Kingdom, or this combination on row number 4, and now we can create an index function just like we did before. To insert the index function, first click into cell G7, and then click on the insert function icon above, select index, select the first option, and now we can start filling out the arguments. Once again, for the array, let's select all of the revenue information from cell D5 to D34, and for the row number, here I can reference this cell G5 with number 4. Then I'll click on OK. So here it looks like chocolate chip in the United Kingdom has earned about £3,112 revenue. Now, just like we did before, here I can take the match function from cell G5, I'll copy this, and I can now paste it in place of this reference within my index function. When I hit enter now, here you'll see that I can get the revenue back for multiple different criteria. Here again, I can change any one of these values, so maybe I type in China, and this will automatically update the revenue. Or I can type in India, and again, this will automatically update the revenue. Here too, I can also insert drop-down lists if I want to make it more dynamic. This is all for now. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.